This part?
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Welcome, everyone. This is Mike on the Mic, the podcast. And I have here with me the one and only David Toland.
The one and only.
One and only. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. Been a roller coaster, but holding on. Life has been good to me. It really has.
So what have you been up to?
Well, since I've been gone a while, I'm just focusing on my family. I'm just living my best life with my kids and my girl and just trying to survive just like the rest of us do.
So you
Still coaching,
Yeah,
just still
same.
playing and around, and I run, and I've just got back into taking care of myself a lot more than I used to.
Man, what does that involve? Taking care of yourself.
Health, mental health. I take care of myself physically and mentally better than I did in the past. I think because of all this, the weight that was on my shoulder isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of changed my life for the
Stress
better.
level.
Absolutely. The stress isn't there at all.
So what? Are you on a diet or anything?
Well, I'd like to say no, I'm not on a diet. It's I like to say it's a lifestyle change, but my lifestyle hasn't changed much. I still eat like I shouldn't. But
So I say that because I just started a diet, and it's called the 75 Hard.
yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, and for 75 days, you drink a gallon of water a day. You have to work out twice for 45 minutes a day, which is the
40
hardest part.
Absolutely.
And then you have to read 10 pages of book, which is actually pretty refreshing.
Read 10 pages of book?
10 pages of a book.
Any book?
Any book.
Oh,
So
all right.
normally you read more than 10 pages. But so that's like the minimum. And then you have to take a cold shower, which I haven't been.
Cold shower, yeah.
That's a little rough. I did
Yeah.
it once, and I was like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And then I think the fifth thing is you have to say something nice to someone every day.
Do you fail at that?
No.
You do that pretty
See,
good in
you
there.
look nice today.
I
See?
appreciate that.
That was-
Were you telling me that?
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. See, the Brave soccer,
Yeah.
repping Bonner.
Ripping Braves. We played today.
Did you guys win? That was a no.
Well, okay, I have to back up. I don't know because I was, my daughter played volleyball and my son played soccer at the same time.
So you don't know if he won?
No.
All right. Well, let's hope.
Dad, I fail.
It's all
Dad
right.
fail.
You
That's
picked
all
one
right.
kid, so
Yeah,
it's all right.
I'm.
So
I have 3.
So Bonner, right? You've born and raised in Bonner.
I was, yeah. Well, no. I was born at Fort Leavenworth, and then my dad, I was raised in Edwardsville. That's where I lived most of my life, and I did graduate from Bonner in 91. And then next thing you know,
91.
yeah, 91. That's what they tell me.
Hey,
You know,
you look good
yeah.
for your age.
I appreciate it. It's sunscreen and DNA, good DNA. You know, my family. I don't take credit for any of this. Now I almost didn't graduate because I got kicked out. The last week of school, I got suspended.
See,
and
this is the stories that I'd love to hear. All the
well,
time.
this one's not really a good. I mean, a friend of mine got bullied in the basement of the jail I said jail. At the school, and down at the high school, there used to be a bathroom in the basement that had a deadbolt on the inside, and it was connected to the locker room. So that's where we used to always go in there and smoke cigarettes and do whatever, because we used to be able to lock the door. Well, a buddy of mine got jumped in there. Fast forward, the end of the day came, and next thing you know, the main party involved, the one who was doing the bullying, well, he just was introduced to the floor of his truck, and I got kicked out. I ended up punching the kid, is what I did, and it wasn't a smart idea, but I got suspended, and thankfully my mom and dad talked him into letting me graduate.
Well, good.
Yeah.
So 91.
Yes.
So graduate in 91. So then what did you do?
Well, I traveled. I kind of, everybody gets into that phase where they just try to figure out who they are. the first thing I tried to go to college. I tried to do that like everybody. You get out of high school, you go right to college. Well, I was I didn't like school in the beginning, and then next thing you know, I've signed up for 21 credits at Johnson County Community College.
Like a semester?
Yeah,
Jeez.
it was just you graduate as a student who barely made it, who didn't like school. I was a social butterfly. I'll be honest with you. The only reason why I think I passed is my mom was on the board, and my parents and the teachers liked me, and because I didn't do a lot of schoolwork. And then I went to college for a little while and realized that wasn't it for me. And then next thing you know, I'm working with the Renaissance Festival, and I traveled with them for years.
You're a Rennie.
I was not a Rennie. There's a big there's
So what did you do with them?
a little bit of everything. I think I was
Dress up?
my nickname. I did.
So you were Rennie.
No. Let me back up. That not during shows. See, you're putting me on the hot spot here. During the shows, I was just running around making sure everybody was taken care of. Everybody was stocked up, doing security stuff, just tending to everything. Maintenance stuff, fixing things, just doing. And Rennies were the travelers, the ones who went with them, just like the carnies in the circus. And I never dressed up. I worked mainly in the offices and getting contracts and stuff like that, and then getting just maintenance and stuff during the shows.
So you travel with them.
Oh, yeah.
So how many people travel with, like,
Well,
Renaissance Festival?
well,
I don't think a lot of people know that.
Yeah, there's a couple different groups. You have the travelers that go in as a convoy of the actual Festivals Incorporated, who drive the tractor trailers, and they're actually employed by Festivals Inc., the Renaissance Festival. And then you have the vendors and the ones that perform, then they just follow the fairs, And so you probably have about 10 to 15 people traveling with the fair together, and then the rest vendors. I'd say maybe 100 plus.
Jeez. So it's like, is that an all year thing?
Most of there's a large amount of shows. Like the place Festivals Inc. at the time, he owned 7 sites. Sites down in Texas and Arizona, and Florida, Michigan, Kansas, and stuff like that. And there's other companies, but he owns 7 of them throughout the country.
So you just travel around all across the country?
All over the country. And I did
for a week or two? Or?
Yeah, some of my favorite ones were down in Florida. We had 7 shows down in Florida.
Like
Or six different cities in Florida. We would have to stay down there for quite some time. I'll never forget, we were in Sarasota doing a show at the Ringling Brothers Museum. I don't know if it's Barnum and Bailey. I don't know which one it was, but his house was down there. And so the Renaissance had their fair on the site. And I'll never forget the first time, one of my jobs was digging post holes and for the tents. And I don't know if any of you have any experience in Florida and soil, but it doesn't take much digging to get down to their old sulfur pipes, those clay pipes. And I had to a sulfur pipe explode in my face.
Oh
my face. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. But Renaissance Festival actually was a part of my life that kind of helped shape me as a person because of all the uniqueness that came with it. All the different characters that worked there. A lot of people look at people that work for the Renaissance or even circuses as people that are lost, or running from something. And there's a lot of truth to that. But sometimes when you get and you talk to those kind of people is when you kind of have some of the most intimate, most vulnerable conversations with people, human to human conversations.
Probably find something in common with mostly anyone, yeah. So.
Oh, I loved working at the Renaissance Festival. It was probably some of my best chapters of my life.
So how long did you do that for?
Oh, total. I worked the Kansas City Fair probably for about 10 years before going full time. And so I would probably say
10 years?
Yeah, because a lot of people have done the Bonner show
Uh-huh.
yearly, so I would do that, just that show.
Uh-huh.
Because a good friend of mine dated the owner's daughter,
Uh-huh.
and so we always had the good jobs there. And then the next thing you know, she asked if I wanted a full-time job traveling. So that's what led it to just a part-time working at the Bonner Fair to now full-time working at all the fairs. And so I'd say maybe, I don't know, 15 plus.
Jeez.
But
I didn't know it was that
yeah,
long.
yeah, but a long time. A lot of it was the Bonner Fair, so I can't really say I traveled during those times.
So that was like working there, but also like having another job.
Absolutely,
too.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
It's like 15 years is a
Oh,
long
yeah,
time.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, where are you at mentally, man? How are you doing?
Well,
Like,
I mean, it's daily. I go through it daily. I've had several things take place in my life in the last couple of years. It kind of made me really kind of have to take a good look at myself and kind of get grips with my mental health. But I'm okay. I think that, like most people, I've learned some good ways to deal with it when I do have issues or whatnot. But overall, my mental health is fairly good. It's not bad. It's not bad. I'm holding on. Let's just say that.
No, I
it's
think everyone's
unique.
holding
Yeah.
on. I think I heard a saying not too long ago. It's like people you meet, it's like they're either going through something or they just got out of going through something. I think
Absolutely.
that's very true. 'Cause
Absolutely.
I kind of always say to people too, it's like everyone hits a rock bottom in their life.
Yeah.
And if you haven't, it's going to happen. It's just something that we all go through.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you've been there, I've been there, a lot of people have been there. And it's just, and like your character depends on how you come out of that situation.
Mm-hmm.
You can
Absolutely.
come out of that situation great, build yourself up, become a better person, or you can let it fester and it just slowly eats at you and it kind of just ruins your life.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I'm glad you're doing better. I'm glad I'm doing better, and everyone else out there, I hope that they're doing better because we all hit that rock bottom. And no one is prepared for it. You never know when it's coming because if you know it's coming, you're probably not going to hit rock bottom. Once you hit that, it's just how you get up from it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also realize, like, the people around you, like, who's going to stay, who's going to go. That's the one thing I noticed. And that's when you kind of truly figure out who your true friends are. And, like, when you're on top and you're living great, like, your circle's big.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of friends, a lot of family, so on and so on. Once you hit a turning point in your life, a breaking point in your life, rock bottom, whatever you want to call it, your circle gets smaller.
Oh,
and
gracious.
that's when you really figure out, okay, these are my true people that are really with me and together. And that's one thing I learned going through everything that I went through. I know you probably did the same thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I quickly realized after all that happened, what you were just talking about is the circle, it shrinks. I realized how many empty friendships I had.
Yeah.
I realized how many people, they really weren't my friends.
You're just,
just
to say hello to you.
Yeah. Because I was up there. We all were. And, I'm glad, as crazy as this sounds, where I'm at now is better than when I was because of what happened with me and all the other things.
You're talking about mentally?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely mentally. And others, but I was going on mentally because I think I was done at that time. I needed to kind of get grounded. I think I was neglecting. No, I don't think. I know. I was neglecting my own mental health. I wasn't taking care of myself. In training classes when I was at the sheriff's office, I used to always talk about masks and at times, sometimes the value of wearing a mask. but then how damaging masks can be in this business. And I was wearing a lot. Even after me telling everybody not to wear them, I found myself wearing them a lot because there's nothing worse, and it's so hard. Like right now, earlier I kind of lied to you in a way when I said my mental health was there, because I'm kind of at that point. Even though I've been going through things, I'm still, my highest priority is still being there for others.
Yeah.
Is still checking on everybody else. And just the other day, I realized how bad that is. Because there would be moments where I am having a moment, or if I'm needing some mental health or something, I turn it off, or I put it in my back pocket to deal with this other person or help someone else, and that takes a toll on people. And I think that was, anyway.
No, you're right. I think the thing about me and you is that we are givers.
Yeah.
We give our emotions to other people. Like, if you need something, we're going to give it to you. If you need help, we're going to give it to you. We're not always thinking about ourselves first. We're always thinking about others and how to make things better for them, how to help.
Yeah.
And it's great for others, but it's bad for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it takes a piece of you where you're not taking care of yourself, and you slowly start to go in a downward spiral because you're not doing your own self-care.
Yeah.
And so I know I've had to realize that I was doing that, because I'm really bad about doing that.
Yeah.
Like I for a while there, I was not taking care of myself. And that's when, like, health problems started and other stuff started. And, like, you really got to sit back and you're like, okay, I do want to help everyone, but it's like I need to take a day or two and help myself, family. Just, you gotta separate yourself from other people's issues, because if you're only dealing with other people's issues, they become your issues, and you're not realizing that you're taking that toll on yourself, because you might tell me your problems and I'm thinking of ways to fix it, but then I'm also emotionally involved in your problems now.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And so I'm trying to solve your problems like it's my problem, which, like I said, I don't mind doing it. I love helping people, but it takes a toll on all of
absolutely.
us. So you have to reach that point to where you're like, okay, I need to take care of myself.
Well, I got to that point when I realized I had to make a change on, in order for myself to continue to help people, I had to help and take care of myself. So my way of doing it, and I became reclusive. I kind of tucked back a little bit and kind of just became reclusive, and to just focus on myself and mental health and my family and my friends and stuff. And that helps me out. And it's not something I don't like doing that, but it's definitely something that I chose just a little bit ago, and it helped me out a lot because it got me focused.
You probably needed it.
Absolutely, I did. And I still am like that in a lot of things, because it's still time. I still need to do that for some things.
That when I went through everything I went through, I took about probably a 3 to 4 month break from everything.
Yeah.
I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't leave the house. I didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a toll on me mentally, but it was like a reset button.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, I now know what I need to do, who I need to take care of myself. I need to just focus on this and that. It's good to hit that, but we shouldn't be reclusive for that long. But it's also good mentally just now we know, like, maybe I need to take a day or two break. Maybe not a month break. Maybe I just need to take a day where I just don't do anything but sit around the house and just kind of zone out and just relax and think about me and just do some me time. Go to the spa day or something. Yeah, I get.
Well, speaking of that,
pedicures
you know,
and stuff.
well, hey, I'm gonna get back with you on that. I'm gonna be honest with you, Mike. I've done that too. I was just thinking about that today. I was like, well, I might have to go get my pedicure today.
Yeah. So that's another thing I wanted to talk to you about. Is
Pedicures?
vices.
Oh,
Not the pedicures, but like vices. So, what's your vice? I know one of my vices is like smoking cigars and relaxing outside, hanging out with family, and like I always like I'm looking for like the next hobby to get into. And
okay. Now
this
wait a minute here.
podcast,
Are we talking vices? Now, when you say hobbies,
vice, hobby, like something to get you away to like
uh,
de-stress yourself.
okay. Because now when I was thinking vice, I was thinking something that wasn't very healthy.
Well, that too.
But what I do, yard work. I garden.
I heard that de-stresses a lot of people.
I love gardening. I've got probably over 100 sunflowers in my yard.
100.
Yeah, they're the
Are they
giant
like
ones.
Yeah, the
I
tall
harvest.
ones?
Yeah, I harvest the sunflower seeds.
Are these the
Because I
ones you
got
can eat?
yeah. Like I make my own brand of David sunflower seeds.
David, so you need to start
David's.
selling that. David's.
Yeah, it's
sunflower
copyrighted.
seeds.
Somebody copyrighted
Somebody's
it.
gonna take this.
Yeah, yeah,
So now I'm wondering about sunflower seeds.
yeah. They're good. Great.
So is it like the sunflower, the big sunflower?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Are the sunflower seeds in the flower?
Yeah, that's where they usually are.
I'm talking about in like the big circle thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
That's
they just
it.
like, what do you pick them out?
Yeah, oh, they're awesome. Yeah, no, the sunflower blooms real pretty, yellow, but then it starts to die.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it starts making the sunflowers. The seeds, I'm sorry. That's when the seeds start to become black and white. And after it looks like it's near death, that's when you chop it.
Get it? The
Yeah,
seeds.
yeah.
How
And
many seeds are in a sunflower?
oh my gosh.
A lot.
Yeah, like a bag. It depends. I've got the giant ones. The flower head is probably the size of some are about the size of a volleyball, some are about the size of a 4-square ball. And they're tall. Some of them are about 10 feet.
Jeez.
Yeah, no, I overdid it.
So you
I
have to,
get
like,
teased a lot. My yard.
Yeah.
Organized chaos. I don't like mowing. I got tired of cutting grass. Who likes cutting grass? Anybody like really cutting
I
grass?
like cutting grass.
All right, that's because you're trying to hide from something. You're just cutting grass because it's nice and loud. Nobody talk to you.
No, because I like cutting grass. But so
All right, I
the
guess
sunflowers fall off. You just like, do they taste like a normal sunflower seed?
Sure, you can eat them raw. You can roast them. Yeah, I'll go out in my front yard and I'll check them out and I'll eat a handful of them right then.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah, yeah. I
don't
got.
believe you. You don't have to show me.
I won't.
pictures.
I like it. And they're the same sunflower I've had since 2005.
So you just moved it from your old house?
Yeah. Well, it's the seeds.
Oh, yeah.
I bought
Yes,
this
right.
bag. It was from a bag of sunflower seeds from a local company called Valley Feed in Bonner Springs, and it was the Cardinal blend. And this was in my old house back in '05. And so a couple sunflowers just started growing. And next thing you know, I kept them, and I've had them ever since. And so,
there's like one seed. I know that I'm sounding
No,
like
that's
an
okay.
idiot. Does
Well-
one seed grow one big plant, or do I have to
yeah,
get the
yeah.
plant, like,
No, one, yeah.
So
You know what, Mike? That did kind of make me think of an idiot there for a second.
just hey,
No, I didn't mean to say that. But yeah, one seed grows the sunflower, and then the sunflower usually produces hundreds of seeds. Yeah. I'll have to give you some. Yeah, I can give you the raw ones, so
I'm
you can
sorry,
roast
I don't
them.
eat sunflower seeds. I don't really like them, but I'll take them just
Yeah.
to support
Well, you can grow them.
David's sunflower
Yeah.
seeds
Mhm.
empire
Yeah.
that you're going to plant
Mhm.
and take the big wigs out.
I'll do my best.
So, vices. You talked about
Yeah.
gardening and
Mm-hmm.
anything else.
Lately it's just doing anything with my kids.
Yeah.
I'm a 15-year-old dad. I got a 15-year-old son, 13 and 11-year-old daughters. And after my ex and I got divorced back in 2018, my relationship with my kids, as crazy as it sounds, it blossomed and it got even better.
Yeah.
You know,
That's good.
yeah, absolutely. that happened about the same time when all my other stuff happened, and so that was a huge thing for me. It was my kids. My kids did more help for me than they probably realize.
Yeah.
And
I love it when, you come home and it doesn't matter how bad of a day you're having. Kids you come home, your kids give you a hug. They have no clue what's going on.
Oh, absolutely.
They don't care how your day was. They just want to be around you.
Yeah.
It just like makes you feel a lot better. It makes you kind of forget your problems.
Absolutely.
Like, why am I worried about X, Y, and Z when I have this family at home?
Yeah. Well, and that was some of my biggest problem is most of my life I worried too much, or I realized it's not that bad. Things aren't that bad. Things aren't that hard. It's really, if you have your little circle of people that you loved, and as long as you are making them happy, as long as they're happy, your bubble's happy, you're respectful, I think that's all we should be doing. And I think we get too focused on outside. Let me back up. I know I got too focused on other things.
I was the same way. I was always worried about other things outside of my family. And then, like I said, once you hit something like you rock bottom, like you really figure out what's important in life. And then I found out my closest friends are important, and my family, and my wife.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it's like, then I got to a point, which I'm at now, it's just like, I'm going to do what makes me happy.
Yeah.
And that's why I started this podcast. That's why I started other things. It's like, life is too short for me to be worrying about other things. And like, work is work. Work is going to be there. Even if I'm not working, in law enforcement, I can do something else. I'm not worried about that anymore. Like, I'm worried about being happy.
Yeah.
Because that's what matters. Because I'm not going to be working my whole entire life. I don't want to work my whole entire life. I want my family my whole entire life. Like, I want to have fun with my kids and do stuff like that. Like, I want to be happy. And I just want to keep the course. And I figured that out once going through all this stuff. Like I said, like, I hate saying, like that once you hit rock bottom, it makes you a better person. But it's kind of true.
If you do it right, if you
right.
take care, absolutely, it can. Cause
like, I don't want everyone to like hit rock bottom. Like, I need to, my life needs to get better. Let me hit rock bottom. Like, that's not what I'm saying. It's just like what we were talking about. Like, once you hit a point in your life to where, like, it makes you realize what's important, that's when your life starts turning around.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I know that I have a lot of people reach out to me, and they're always, some of them are all worried. Some say they're worried about this, worried about that, but I tell you what, I've been the best place in my life. And it's because of the way I look at things now. Yeah. I know that years ago, I truly believe that this happened to me because I needed to kind of refocus, and my priorities were kind of wacky, and sometimes the best things for you are not what you want.
Yeah, you're right.
And so
sometimes it's not what you asked for.
Yeah.
But maybe it's a higher power, or maybe it's something saying, hey, we need to get you on the right path, and this is what we're going to do. You might not like it, you might fight it, but we're definitely going this route. And once you accept it, because we all fight it at first, we're like, why is this happening? It's that whole like psychology thing. It's like denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. So as soon as you hit that problem, you're in denial. I think it's denial. Maybe it's depression first. Whatever. But you're hitting one of those two, and then you're going to be angry. You're mad that it happened.
Oh, yeah.
And then you hit depression. You're sad that it happened. And then you hit bargaining. You're like, why, God? Why? Please do this, do that. Like you're bargaining with people. And then you hit acceptance. Once you hit that, then life turns around. And a lot of people will get stuck in that loop before they hit acceptance. Like, you're going to keep hitting denial, anger, bargaining, depression. Before you hit acceptance, you're going to keep going through that. But once you hit acceptance, man, things get better.
Oh, yeah. And that's not easy, though.
It's not easy. Because sometimes you can hit acceptance and then go right back to what you were feeling before, which it sucks. We all go through it, but as long as you know how you can get back to acceptance, and like, you know what, I'm good, I'm happy, I need to do this with my life, I need to go in this direction, and just refocus on what you're doing. It's all you can ask for.
I agree.
It's tough.
Yeah. Well, it's a daily thing. I have found myself getting triggered, or I find myself daily dealing with my own mental health, as we all should be, really. The whole, and this is an opinion, but the time where, we're supposed to be tough to do this and that should be done. We shouldn't have to put on a mask to be tough and hide our emotions and our feelings, especially in the profession that most of us have been in. That stigma shouldn't even be around anymore, because there's too many examples in this business and life in general, actually, of how mental health, and if you just keep shoving that stuff farther down and down, how bad you become. And there's so many examples of that. Even people we all know, you can just see it.
Yeah.
Because I know that was the worst thing I ever did. Bottled up stuff.
Up, yeah, all your emotions. I know. But being in law enforcement, like, that's what a majority of law enforcement people do. You deal with your problems at work, and then you don't want to take them home, and you try not to take them home.
Yeah.
Because you don't want your wife and your kids to deal with it. So what do? You bottle it up.
Mm-hmm.
You don't talk about your problems because you think that's the best thing to do. I'm not going to bring my problems home to my wife or my husband or my kids, because they don't know what I'm going to be talking about, or I'm protecting them from this and that. So you bottle them up. You bottle that up for years.
Mm-hmm.
Soon you're going to explode.
Oh yeah.
And so that's what we talked about earlier. It's like PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a majority of law enforcement, fire department people, public safety people, nurses, doctors, you name it, I think a majority of us deal with some version of PTSD. And a lot of people think, only, they think PTSD, you think just military.
Mm-hmm.
It's not true.
Right.
If you're going through something traumatic, not daily, but weekly, even if you do it monthly, it doesn't really matter. In our profession, it's mostly daily. If you go through that every day or every week or something, you are going to have PTSD.
Sure.
And it might not trigger you the first year, it might not trigger you 10 years down the road, might not trigger you 20 years down the road, but at some point in your life, it's going to trigger you, and you're not going to know what's going on.
Yeah. I know that somebody will probably get me on stats, but I'll almost bet you that almost every first responder has a form of it somehow, and they don't even know. Like you said, you can get triggered years down the road. I got triggered just the other day on something and it's just like, whoa. So yeah, mental health is very important to have in the profession nowadays. Definitely, if we want to see that profession succeed, especially in this society.
So how do you deal with your mental health? And I know that, dealing with PTSD and stuff like that, like, what do you do to help yourself out?
It depends on, that's kind of a broad question in a way, because I have so many different ways to answer that. But if, like the other day, I had a moment, I had to kind of break that little area. I had to kind of get out of the scene there for a split second, and I had to I counted till about 10. I kind of have this, I carry some things with me every once in a while when I'm in certain spots, and I just kind of hold on to it. If I break that cycle of, I kind of start getting into the reality that's around me instead of what got triggered, kind of get back into reality. It kind of gets me refocused, and I kind of get over it, But this last one, I just left. I just got it. I just left.
Yeah.
And just kind of sat in my car and just kind of reflected and just kind of took some breaths and some things that I learned at some camps and stuff. Some little helpful little tricks that we do. In fact, the biggest thing I'm not ashamed to say this, and I really don't care if people know, but I just started seeing a therapist again.
Yeah.
And that's a biggest help right now.
I tell people to see a therapist all the time.
Oh, absolutely.
I see a therapist.
Totally.
Yeah, it helps. Even if you don't have PTSD.
Yeah.
You have problems. Everyone has problems.
Mm-hmm.
Go see a therapist.
Absolutely.
Because it's like an outside person that doesn't know you, doesn't know your problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to help.
Sure. It's the best thing that I've had. That for years, I rebelled against counseling.
I think most people do,
Yeah.
especially men.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We
want to talk about our problems.
Mm-hmm. We all have some experiences with different types of counselors, but then, especially when you're a law enforcement officer, oh my gosh, I can't go see a shrink or counselor. Oh my gosh, I'm weak.
Yeah, I hate that
but
stigma.
no, absolutely. But that right there is really what keeps me kind of going. On top of that, and just the basic life things, the family, the health, the learn, just staying focused on what really is, important in life. And therapists actually kind of help ground you sometimes. So I strongly encourage people to get out there and seek help.
I know I tell people every chance I get, if they're dealing with some kind of problem or PTSD or anything, like, have you talked to somebody? I always say that.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's no. Like, we'll go talk to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I promise you it will help.
Yeah.
Because it's an outside person that doesn't know anything.
Oh, yeah.
They're just splooging all. Splooging, that sounded weird.
That was
They're
great.
Spilling all this information out to them. And a lot of times people don't realize, like, it's not really the problems, like, that you're dealing, like PTSD. Like, if you get in a shooting or something happens, or, that happened like a week ago, a month ago, whatever, and you think that's triggering it, like, that might have been like the straw that broke the camel's back. But most people have been dealing with problems their whole life, and that's when it started, especially in childhood.
Yeah.
Like, most people's problems start at childhood, how they've been raised, and then you're just growing up, and then you're just bottling it up inside. And
Absolutely.
then eventually, it's just going to start popping its head out, and then boom.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when you were talking about childhood and raising, my habit of wearing masks, or one of my issues is I wear masks occasionally. I hide feelings. I don't.
Most people do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I learned that as a child. I right off the bat, my parents were very loving. I was well taken care of. My father was an alcoholic. He called himself a functioning drunk. 3 cases of beer a day. That's how much he drank. Yeah.
Cases of beer. Are you serious?
3 cases of beer. And the only reason why I know for a fact is because it was my brother and our job to crush the cans before we went to bed.
To, like, recycle it?
Yeah. It was a step process. You had to crease it in the center and then fold the top and the bottom over to make it flat. Yeah, it was a 3-step process. But anyway, my point was, because my father drank a lot, he was a good man. My dad was an amazing person. He wasn't abusive physically or emotionally, at least that he knew of. He just drank a lot. And in order to hide his issues, our yard looked perfect, our house looked perfect, our pictures, our family photos looked perfect. I'll never forget the time he told me, I asked if I could grow my hair out, if I could have long hair. And he said, as long as you can tie it up so when we have family pictures. So that's where the mullet came from.
So I'll say that's where you're rocking the mullet.
That's when I decided to go with the mullet. Because he made me, it was image. If everything looked good, then it must be good. If the family portraits were awesome, the yard was awesome, the house was picked up, then the family had to be awesome, right? Isn't that supposed to be?
It's supposed to be. It's like Facebook. Like if everything looks good on Facebook,
Yeah.
it must be great.
Oh, man, it was a total opposite. Yeah, it was a total opposite.
So why the mullet?
I just thought that was cool.
Was that the cool thing back then?
Yeah,
I don't think that was ever cool.
No, it was always cool. It's cool now. Look at it now. That doesn't go out of style.
I guess we'll then grow your hair out to mullet. You mean your redhead mullet.
Okay, I might.
Well, if I had hair, I would grow it out.
Well, you can grow it out because the mullet is long in the back. You've got hair in the back.
Bobo the Clown. I'm good.
Or Jesse Ventura.
Yeah,
like
I'm good. I don't want to
the
look like
macho.
an idiot.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So,
Sorry, we kind of.
no. Of course we're gonna get on topic. That's just what we do. So, PTSD, right? We've been talking about this. How do you think how do you think like people can like solve this issue and like dealing with it in any profession? Like what would you do if you were like, if you could talk to people and say, hey, you guys are dealing with PTSD or you're going to deal with it, these are the steps you need to take, or these are some ideas to help, or anything.
Well, I definitely don't have a very good answer for that. But what I would tell them is, first thing is it's okay to feel this. It's okay to feel like this. It's okay to have these feelings. It's okay to not have a mask on, and definitely to go and seek some help. Professional guidance on guiding you through those things. It's not a. Now are we. Because I used to tell people in training that this job will change you. And I've said it almost in every graduation, I think. Knowing that the job's going to change you, have a little control of how it changes you. Mm-hmm. Accept that it's going to change you. Because it is. Mm-hmm. And I always try to tell those guys, from the very beginning, know that this is going to happen. But just, read about post-traumatic stress disorder. Just do things in your earlier part of your career or whatever, or anything actually. But, don't not seek help because you don't think it's cool or not. That's pretty much it. To be open. Yeah. One thing that really helps me out is being open-minded enough to remain vulnerable to other ideas that, or ways of helping, that are definitely better than mine. Because there's been times where I've tried to fix myself, and it just wasn't working. Yeah. So I think people to remain open for other ideas,
So I've been like researching a lot about it because, I deal with it and everything. Talk about PTSD, but like, I guess people are like taking MDMA, which is like ecstasy, which blows my mind. Apparently it works. They just put you in a room, they give you like a small dosage, someone's there with you, and they just kind of just let you sit there and just take a little bit, and they just watch you, and just it's just not only does it like relax you, it just like opens your mind, and then just just start
sure does.
spilling out all these problems. You get emotional, and it's just kind of like a very long therapy session. But it's controlled. They're not giving you like, hey, we found this from Dan down the street that was selling the ecstasy. Here, take this. But I thought that was very interesting. And then marijuana too. Like I know they're trying to introduce that, which I know, marijuana, law enforcement don't go hand in hand. But like I think that marijuana would help people with PTSD.
Yeah. Well, I think if used right, I had a a brief conversation with Dr. Prohaska about this, about marijuana and PTSD. She wasn't really into it, and I understood because there's not a lot of scientific studies on that. But what I can say is my own experience with it, with that stuff. And if used properly and not in a way where most people think about smoking marijuana, just go roll a joint and get stoned. If you don't do it like that, I believe marijuana is a way that you can find some comfort and peace. I started a new job, and I work for a protection company that provides different services for medicinal marijuana now. So I guess I don't know if we were going down that path, but I guess I just did. So I have my job. Allows me to observe, have conversations, educate myself on THC, the medicinal. Because I working over in Missouri, because it's legal in Missouri for medicinal purposes, and so I work at a dispensary. Medical marijuana is distributed, and there's a doctor in there as well, and they are starting to find that the right amount of THC with CBD can enhance the effect and to where it is a little more of a calming. It just does a little more. So there's a lot more to it than just getting stoned, with marijuana. Yeah. And, a lot of people think, if they anytime they smoke marijuana, they're going to just get Cheech and Chong kind of thing. And it's not that at all. There's two types of weed or marijuana, indica and sativa. And they say indica, you can remember it, is the kind that gets you into couch, indica, whatever.
Makes sense.
And so there's the one guy, they call them bud tenders, the guys that work behind the cash register selling the bud tenders, yeah. The thing I've noticed about this business, there's some clever names and things. But they, I lost focus on where I was going with that. But, they talk about the value of medicinal marijuana for all kinds of ailments. Where the dispensary I work for is around the corner from a dialysis operation. And there's patients of theirs that comes into our dispensary. And this one lady in particular, she'll buy some gummies, and she'll eat just a little bit of the gummies to get her stomach not so upset because of all the stuff she's going through. And then she'll smoke just a tiny, tiny little bit of flower so she can get hungry and eat. And so you look at that, it's survival. And so my first day I was there, I started there in November, and my first day there, basically my job is a glorified doorman, really, a doorman that pretty much, or a gatekeeper, I guess you'd say. And I have had some of the most amazing conversations in there because most people think that the clients that come into dispensaries are just, average stoner, whatnot. It is a complete opposite. And I truly believe if used properly that marijuana could aid in the healing pathway that someone is trying to go down, as long as they did it right. As long as you don't do it like you think you did in high school. You're
not just getting drunk and stoned in a party. Yeah.
But I believe that it helps.
Well, hopefully there's some type of remedy to help. I know that might be a long shot for people that are dealing with that to go that route, but I know there's a lot of useful things for THC, marijuana, however you want to call it. Like, I mean, I've just, there's tons of people that take it for medicinal purposes. People have seizures. People with
We have
arthritis.
we have a miner who comes in who has cerebral palsy, I believe. He's in a wheelchair. His mom brings him, but he gets it because it helps keep him from having seizures. It calms him down.
Yeah.
It just there's so much health to it. You know, things that can do. There's a documentary on Netflix. I think it's still on Netflix. I'm not sure. It's called The Grass is Greener. It talks about the influence that marijuana had on the music industry, like way back. And then it starts to really show and talk about when the laws started showing up. You know, when the government got involved and made marijuana illegal, and the ignorance and this and that. But it's The Grass is Greener. The documentary, it's a good one, but it also kind of made you a little upset about society in a whole and our system that we work for and why laws are even written sometimes.
I'll have to check it out.
But yeah, it's a pretty good little documentary.
So,
Kind of
off topic.
Way off.
No, I'm about to go way off topic again. Before we started, you talked about working at a ranch. Is that what it was? I need to hear this story.
Well,
I told you to hold off because I want it.
well, you're
to
making
record
it sound. You know.
Well, no, because
don't
if
build
it's
it
not
up.
a good story, then I'm going to make you tell the whole Colgan story.
Well, I don't know if it's a good story or not. I've got lots of little stories that I tend to forget, but this one here, I worked for a guy who bred horses out in Baser, and
You please tell me you weren't that guy.
I was that guy. But that wasn't all.
Wait a minute, you can't just.
Wait a minute, I'm not done. You're
glance
jumping
over that.
ahead. But you're jumping ahead. I'm telling my story. So, my job, I was his farmhand. You know, I would go in. One of my favorite things to do was chase out these certain these swallows that he had. Anyway, with a whip. And I used to practice with a whip.
You had like the Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I was a bad man with that whip. But anyway, so my job was to aid and to assist the guys when they bred the horses. Have you ever watched that process? It's pretty violent. It can be.
I don't think I've like sat there and just watched it, but I've probably seen like stupid videos of it.
Oh yeah, and it's probably accurate. It's I don't know. Can I say? What can we say on these things?
You can say whatever you want.
So we end up tying okay, I'm not a rancher, okay? We end up tying the female's legs together so she can't kick the horse.
Yeah, makes sense.
Right? And so we just like bound these horses together up. And it's like,
It's probably pretty normal.
yeah, it is, but it's kind of
It sounds very horrible.
It's kind of like we're about to rape this female horse with
Yeah.
this guy. Here, let's tie you up. Get ready. Here he comes. But anyway, so after the deed was done, we had 4 guys holding on to the horses so they wouldn't get away. And then when the stallion was done, I don't know if you ever seen a stallion's.
His piece.
Yeah, freaking huge.
Yeah.
And my job was to get. Have you seen those chamois that you dry off your car? You wash your car with. You stick your hand in there and you stick it with a bucket of water, soap, and it has like this chemical stuff in it. And I'm just gonna say it. I basically had to jack that horse off and clean it. My job was to clean the horse's dick after it was done mating.
Yeah, that is a very interesting job. I hope you got paid a lot of money.
I didn't. So I don't know if you know how to do it, but you basically have to hold the tip.
No, I don't.
And then you dip your hand in the bucket of solution that they make. You're holding it, and you're sitting on a bucket at that time, right? And the horse is still tied up. His ding-dongs hanging down, almost hitting the floor. You lift it up. You basically are doing this. If you stroke. So I have to stroke that horse probably like 5 hours. So that was my job. I only did it for a few times. I couldn't handle it. You know.
I couldn't do. I don't know if you can pay me to do that more than once. I think I would like if you pay me. I'm like, all right, I could do it, and I'm like, I would never do that again.
Yeah, it was a friend of my dad's. They were in AA together, and yeah, it was some good times.
Yeah.
And I never did see a baby horse come out of the deal. Any of it. So it was probably
type of stock in this horse.
Probably what happened is these 3 older guys saw a young kid and said, let's do this. Let's make up this job. Let's make up the job dick washer.
Yeah, and they're probably still laughing to this day. Remember that time we made that kid named Dave do this?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that was one assignment I've had. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we ended on that story. It's been an hour. And I'm glad that we ended on a great story.
Well, I'm sorry to end it on that story. You know, that was all over the place.
Of course, we're going to talk again. You know, this is not the first time. But Dave, thank you for coming.
Oh, I appreciate it. I love coming out here.
So, thank you for coming. It's always
very welcome.
A great time. I'm glad we got to get this done.
We've been talking about this since 2009 or 2010 in the training academy for years. We talk enough, so you think we'd be able to do enough of these.
What's crazy? It took me to hit all my problems to decide. You know what? I'm just gonna do what I want to do and love.
Yeah,
so
I agree. I think this is great that you're doing it. I think the next couple times we should do it in a place where we can have a cocktail and a cigar.
Yeah.
I know you can't have cigars in this place.
No, but we can go to Western
Mama
Cigar and do it. They said we can do it down there. So
okay.
Next time.
All right.
Yeah.
I can dig that.
Be prepared.
All right.
By the way,
prepared
our cigar and bourbon little fundraiser is September 24th. I know I've been plugging this on my Facebook, so those of you guys that's listening in, buy your tickets, come support us. We're not only supporting our FOP, we're supporting a majority of the money goes to First Responders Midwest, which is they deal with they help first responders in PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's good.
Yes, so
that's
please support
good.
us.
Absolutely.
If you're not going to go, just buy a ticket, be nice, or just go. So yeah. So that's it. Thank you guys.
It's a good place. I appreciate it.
See you next time.
Excellent.